Vaughn Gitt Jr. continued the pace. He went 3 off on that second outside zone. And again, some people are claiming 2.5. The judges analyzing it, looking at it, like you said, hockey, tennis, regardless, he went off. So there it is. One more time. Dylan Hughes, Diego Higa, our next battle. There is Vaughn's weapon of mass destruction, running those wide offset wheels and running the turbo fans, the vanity discs. And Dylan Hughes, Diego Higa. Dylan Hughes, who we've seen just, again, peaks and valleys. He really beats himself up, but again, he is definitely a fierce competitor. Diego Higa finding his way with this Diego Higa JDM Supreme 86. Used to be an FRS, but again, JDM Supreme, collecting those cars. I saw your podcast talking about that, and with Mike Power.
Yeah.
Has a little soundbite there, but collecting these antiquities of the drifting world.
Yeah.
You know, the top secret S15, one of my favorite cars, by the way. He owns that, and a few other vehicles. But again, JDM Supreme contributing to the Brazilian pilot of Diego Higa, a big talent coming to us from Brazil. Also in the Hyperdrive, my boy Rutledge Wood, like I said, he was watching. That was a show on Netflix. Fans starting to come in, and that's what's great. But here we go. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, lost them out on the lawn. Got the umbrellas out, ready for a good time. Higa had some great practice runs too. I've been kind of sitting up here chatting with the spotters, trying to get some inside info and watching all the practice stuff. And Diego Higa is, I think, like, he's really starting to mend to this track and do well and pick up the zones. And he's now figured out the speed. Like, Formula Drift is so fast, and anybody coming from any other drifting series coming here, it's the first thing they say. And he's starting to figure out the speed.
Okay.
So now he is a very, very dangerous driver.
Okay. Well, again, just that vehicle, talk about the history. That was piloted by Ryan Turk back in the day. It was purchased by JDM Supreme, and now it's come out of retirement, and now Diego Higa is behind the wheel. Dylan Hughes will be leading Diego. Oh, look at that, 100, I don't know if that's locked and loaded there. Oh, Diego, talk about the speed. Yeah, he found it. Got right to the side of Dylan the Dozer Hughes. Dylan Hughes, that Permatex vehicle, running that Optimum Easy livery here for this round, and there goes Dylan Hughes, that last outside zone. That got a little sketchy 5,000 there in that first outside zone. That got a little hairy.
Yeah, I don't know if Dylan shored up, and that's why Diego tapped him. I do want to see the replay to understand exactly how that whole thing transpired. But Dylan taking the wide line on initiation, comes around, flicks it, and it looks like he does. So Dylan straightens a little bit in order to make the first inside clip, and then Diego Higa, I mean, he's on the line he's supposed to be on, and just kind of slides into the back end of Dylan Hughes. After that, though, it kind of bumped Dylan back into the correct spot. So Diego Higa almost helping Dylan finish off this run, and you know, the rest of the zones looked pretty good, and Higa was a little bit shallow trying to get that proximity. To watch right here, Dylan straightens a little. Right there, you see the wheels turn, and then boop, and gets him back online. So Diego Higa was the reason why Dylan Hughes was able to hit outside zone 1.
Right, he kind of gave him a little assist, little bump, not a bump trap, but a bump to push.
Drift. Yeah, bump drift.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then Dylan, the rest of the run, I think he kind of realized he got lucky coming into outside zone 3 here, sets it and forgets it, while Diego Higa trying to play the catch-up game and get some more proximity. So we'll see what happens. Is the fans hanging out on the hill?
Hanging on the hill.
Hanging out on the hill.
Bending in bad bump. It's a lot of fun.
There we go.
Hey, there we go. Paying attention. Out in the weeds there.
It's a good spot, though. I mean, there's so many cool spots to view the race here.
Yep. Yeah, so many good spots. Thank you, sir. As we are getting them re-racked. The Sand People. Don't worry, they'll come back in a greater numbers, too. Star Wars reference?
Yes. No,
you
got me there.
Okay,
No,
okay.
We're good.
Victory for the fans. Again, the umbrellas are key. Again, about, was it 4,500 feet elevation?
Yep.
So might as well be walking on the sun.
We're up here.
R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
The shape of an L on his forehead.
I mean, I hope not. Do you think they did that?
No.
No.
Gosh, no. I'm not belittling, obviously, homeboy. Smash him out. By no means. Just give him a little R.I.P. Rest in peace. Did not know him. He's not friends with him, but obviously played a major role.
Yeah, everybody knows those
Carson
songs.
Daly wrote a great post about him.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're looking for how instrumental he was in music, he wrote a really good post about him. So check it out. All right, here we go. Let's alternate the order here as we are seeing now Diego Higa out front. Diego Higa. And chasing, I think I think Diego Higa might have a little bit of an advantage here because Dylan comes out of drift but gets a little assist. So we definitely, if you're Dylan Hughes, you really need to step it up here. Let that pressure be known. And Diego Higa, big angle there. You said he's coming to his own here. He's finding that high speed. Dylan the Dozer Hughes transitions. Both these guys with the 2Js under the hood. And there goes Dylan Hughes. Don't know if there's contact. We're going to have to take a look at that Permatex Optimum RTV vehicle, the great car for the great flavor of that Permatex Optimum RTV.
Yeah, Diego Higa, this is what I was talking about. This is what he was doing in practice. Watch all the zones, but very much you need to watch Dylan Hughes because he knows he's kind of behind. But Diego Higa, inside clip 1, crushes it. Outside zone 1, crushes it. Coming into 2, you see that little bit of that initiation spot that the judges want, but great angle, holding it. Could have got a little bit more angle, but he held the line, and that's what we're looking for. And then Dylan Hughes, little boop, and Higa holds onto it. We've seen a couple of guys come off course and catch the gravel and spin out, but Higa keeps his foot into it and pulls himself back onto the track. So Dylan Hughes, this is going to be interesting. I think we need to understand fault for all of these situations, but Diego Higa had a great job out in the lead. Dylan Hughes able to kind of pull the car back in, settle the angle as they come through the transition. You are sitting in smoke there for what feels like forever, and that's where we get that contact. Dylan Hughes comes out of angle pretty heavily, and the judges are taking a look at all of the replays that they've got on hand here to understand the full situation.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Diego Higa from Brazil. Dylan the Dozer Hughes. Where are my Dylan Hughes fans at? Diego Higa, does he have what it takes? Dylan Hughes going for it. Man's got a James Dean shirt on there. Got to just general fan, with a Formula Drift gear. Thanks for supporting. Got a Cletus McFarland shirt on. Shout out to Cletus McSkeeter. Skeeter do. Yep. Sweating it out. Sweating it and getting it. There we go. That's yours. Sweating and getting it.
All right. If it's been bestowed upon me, I guess I gotta live with it now.
Well, it's workshop.
So, yeah.
Got a Matt Field hat. So again, just the love being spread all around the paddock. What do we got? What shirts are those? Pin it to win it, Chelsea DeNova fans. Again, any hood, hatch, or door. See if Nick Novak loses his roof. Like he did in Irwindale a few years ago. Got a donut fan. Again, thanks for buying the merch, man. That's awesome. Who do you think? Diego Higa, Brazil? Or do you think Dylan Hughes gets the win? All right. Those guys, they're not moving their arms. Not impressed. Not impressed yet. Slide him left for Hughes, right for Higa. One more time. So another OMT across the board. And hey, Ryan Lontaine, put your headset on real quick. We'll go back to one more time, but they're not even in the burnout box, so we do have a moment here. Again, we're seeing two one more times back-to-back. We'll revisit Odie and Gitten, but Hughes and Higa, there was some contact made. Did Dylan push Diego out of the way? Was Diego at fault? Dylan had kind of an okay initiation. What did you guys see?
We saw the same mistake from both drivers in the lead, just in different parts of the track. Dylan Hughes was going wide on inside clip 1, had to slow down, had an extra handbrake pull, and Diego was right there with him, so he did make contact with him. And then while Diego was leading, he had a great lead up until the very last corner where he was going too wide on outside zone 3, and he needed to slow himself down to stay on the track, and that's where Dylan made contact with him. So they both made the same errors in the lead position, like I said, just in different parts of the track, but both of those errors threw off the chase car, one at the beginning, one at the end, but since they're the equivalent mistake, we're going to see that one more time.
I know, never mind, we'll go back.
Yeah.
All right, for Kristaps.
One more time.
That was a comp timeout called. Okay, so we are back to the line, and we are taking a look at, this is Dylan Hughes and Diego Higa. Dylan Hughes will lead. Diego Higa giving chase. Here we go with that Optimum RTV Easy Permatex vehicle goes in the outside zone. And now you can see a lot more settled than that first time. Diego Higa, he knows he can apply the pressure here to Dylan Hughes. We saw it on that first battle. This is the one more time. Diego Higa coming out of angle there. And now in that final outside zone, Dylan Hughes explodes it, almost gets into the dirt. He does exceed it a little bit, but using that course edge is Dylan Hughes. And like I said, Diego and him really pushing especially on that first battle. What do you see? Anything stand out to you there, Jacob?
Yeah, Dylan definitely put down a great lead run there, and Higa had some weird moments in and around outside zone 2. So that's the part that I very much want to focus on as we see Kristaps there chatting with Kevin Wells, obviously discussing the situation. But let's take a look at the replay here. Dylan going wide, Higa timing that initiation good, matching the angle. Dylan having to shore up a little bit to make that inside clip 1. We almost had a repeat of what happened before. Dylan doing a great job getting the car out to 2 with that left foot brake. And then Higa reeling him in, trying to get that proximity, but almost driving straight. And you can see by missing that last part of outside zone 2, it really messes up the rest of the run for him. While Dylan was able to keep the correct line. So Higa made some compromises in order to get the proximity back. That really messed up the line for the rest of it. So Dylan did a great job out there in the lead. You can see him holding the car back there with the left foot brake, able to swing the back end around, getting back on throttle while holding the left foot brake down. And then Higa almost straight here, causing him to shoot a little bit wide to get back on the throttle early to make him shallow. It looked like he panicked a bit.
Diego, he's again horsepower sweat.
Well, that is Kristaps' horsepower sweat.
That's Kristaps' vehicle.
Wow. So that's
Kristaps' vehicle. So that was, sorry to clarify and cut you off there, Jacob. Talking to the guys over here, they said that was a competition timeout, 5-minute allotment. The car is obviously not 100. So again, Kristaps.
I wonder if we'll start seeing guys now running like a shield or anything, like a splash guard underneath the front end of the car. I mean,
kind of a fluke.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been running bash bars, but yeah, that blast shield, that's, I mean, not that far-fetched, but obviously you know that contact's going to happen, but with something like that, that's just such a fluke, unfortunately, in 12 hours of each other.
But it could be, I mean, you've got curbs too. We've got different tracks that have high curbs and transition points, so you never know what could happen. So Higa off the line here.
Yeah, Diego Higa leading, Dylan Hughes giving chase. Diego Higa initiates into that first outside zone. Goes Diego Higa, gets all the way out there. Dylan Hughes buried in that smoke, but now in the second outside zone, you can see really good mimicking of the angle. These guys almost simultaneous and absolutely mirroring each other's angle. Diego Higa, like you said, seems to be finally hitting his stride in that FRS, the 86. So again, great effort there by both the drivers. Anything stand out to you, Jacob?
Yeah, how much Dylan Hughes is driving beyond his years. So Higa here, not a ton of angle, but able to push himself out through inside clip 1 and gets into outside zone 1 a little bit early. Dylan Hughes doing everything to predict that. Through outside zone 2, you see Higa on a great line, Dylan on a great line. As they transition through, he comes through the smoke. Higa starts to pull out of the zone, but Dylan actually stays back in the zone. So Dylan had two choices. He could have shored up to try and get more proximity, but instead stayed back and stayed on the proper line. Well, Higa started to push out, and I'm going to predict here, we're going to see guys doing this a little bit more as they realize how important line is, even in the chase. So Higa through 2, everything looks good. Dylan comes out a little bit early, gets the sight, sits back in the zone, and watch Higa pull out of the zone while Dylan sits there.
All right, so a lot between these two guys.
Yeah.
Neither the tidiest of the driving, but it's not easy being a judge. These guys scrutinizing each of these runs. There's Brian Eggert most closely to you, Ryan Lontaine in the middle, Robin Ishii in the middle. Jacob, myself out back here, thank you for joining us and tuning in. Tell everybody we are live around the world. Round 7 of the Formula Jet Pro Championship, presented by Type S and AutoZone. We call this elevated, obviously given the location. So slide him left for Hughes, right for Diego Higa. Dylan Hughes gets 1 vote, 2 votes. Dylan Hughes gets the win. Congratulations to him, Diego Higa. And again, the internet blowing up here. That Permatex Optimum RTV Brazilian fans, they are absolutely ravenous for their fellow Brazilian drivers. Diego, great driving, but Dylan Hughes just a little more refined there, especially on that second battle. Again, the first battle, that's one and done, but we are hearing also, so Dylan Hughes gets the win. We are hearing there's a steering issue, a steering rack issue with Kristaps going off course. It was not the clips, but could have hit something, but the steering rack. So unfortunately for Kristaps Blush, Beecham will have his bye run, and Beecham will advance on. Not the way you want to get it done. Some great driving by Beecham and by Kristaps Blush, but with that failure there on the steering, Trenton Beecham will be getting the bye run and advancing on. Jacob, you called it just on how aggressive, on how good his driving is, but Beecham delivering not the way you want to get it, but you'll take it anyway. So again, Beecham will get the victory and advance on into the top 16. Beecham will be going against Dylan Hughes in our Royal Purple top 16.
I have a feeling Beecham's going to lay down a heater of a bye run here. I know how excited he is. I know how hard he's been working for this, the struggles that he's gone through all year. Like I said, they found some crazy engine issues. Maybe on the podcast when I have him on finally, we'll get into the nitty-gritty about what was going on, but they unleashed several hundred extra horsepower, and he is figuring out how to use it, and he's doing an incredible job of it. So I'm pretty excited to see what Beecham's going to do here. I think he's going to have a little bit of fun with it. I mean, why not, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To him, as much as Simon was to him. Yeah.
All right, so right there from jump, and Ryan, you talked about that initiation really setting pace and precedence for the entirety of the run. And 2 of the 3 judges, let it be known, it was not absolutely unanimous. It was 2 against 1. Our Robin Ishida said that he wanted to see them run one more time. Next up, Diego Higa, and with a very surging Trenton Beecham, found some extra horsepower and definitely is finding all the right outside zones. Diego Higa, his car was absent on driver introduction, so you wonder if his car is 100% like Beecham is finding all that HP past that inside clip into the outside zone. Looks like Beecham's right there. Here comes Diego. Really quick, a twitch there by Beecham in the second outside zone. Diego has to back off. How much is that going to disrupt Higa into the last outside zone? Beecham filling all of it. Diego got great proximity. Diego had good proximity in that last outside zone, but he was taking that tighter line, and there we are seeing Simon Olsen step outside of his car. Of course, he's going to go over to Odi Bakshi's.
Well, Jared, I mean, as you know, every driver is looking for that opportunity to have a standout moment, and what we've seen from Trenton Beecham so far this year is that he looks way more comfortable, way more settled in that vehicle, and he's really looking confident overall. Diego Higa is also looking for that standout moment. Can he find his way into the Great 8? A protest overturned, got him the victory. Now he's going to try to take out Trent Beecham. Does a great job on that transition to outside zone 2, but then falls back. Very stable out front is Trent Beecham, getting to the edge of outside zone 3, locking it in, full throttle all the way around, and Higa right in the pocket there towards that final section. Here it is again. You see that first inside clip. Beecham looking very comfortable, just gets into that second outside zone with a slight bobble at the beginning, but then locks in and does a pretty tremendous job throughout the remainder of the course. As you can see, Higa there is on a tighter line. He is gaining proximity, but he's making that sacrifice.
There's a look at our judges closest to you. That's Brian Egger. Brian, wave to the camera. All right, so, and we are calling a competition timeout that's for Beecham. I assume that's for Higa. Diego Higa, thank you so much. Diego Higa, broken or just comp timeout? And again, all right, so Diego Higa calls a competition timeout, an NGK competition timeout. So there's some hugs for the boys. Olsen and Bakshi's. Olsen moves on. But when we return, we'll find out who continues to move on. We have 5 of the 8 drivers in our Grade 8. We'll find out who continues on here at round 7 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship here at Utah Motorsports Campus. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. He qualified 26th, Beecham qualifying 10th. This being the second run. Higa called that comp timeout after the first run. Still got we got a lot of dust out here on track. It's very dusty when that wind kicks up. Yeah, there's got a lot of people on the grass out here, man.
The grassy knoll.
The grassy knoll, man.
Yeah, I love this course. It's very fast. Obviously, there are some trade-offs, right? Every time we dip a tire, dirt goes all over the place. It's not what we see with courses where it's majority concrete. You're mostly talking about cones and things like that. But you obviously want that surface to be as predictable as possible. The drivers have enough practice time now during different parts of the day to know how it's going to react. But you don't want dust and oil and things like that to mess up their predictions.
Again, thank you so much for joining us here. My name is Jared Dienda. This is Ryan Sage. We are live here from Utah Motorsports Campus. This is round 7. Remember, October 13th and 14th, the finals. Who's going to win the 2023 championship? Again, Chelsea DeNofa leads the pack. Frederick Osbo, again, part of the conversation. Matt Field, Odie out early. Simon Olsen currently sits in 5th, but Diego Higa and Trent Beecham out right now. Diego Higa from Brazil coming down past that inside clip. Diego Higa in that first and outside zone. Into that second outside zone goes Higa. Slows it up a little bit, allowing Trent Beecham to catch up. You can see again, he's got that horsepower on deck. He hasn't had that prior to this round of competition. Comes out of that smoke and into that final outside zone. Beecham, he is right there on the door of Higa, the Brazilian driver. Again, the internet always blowing up for Diego Higa, the Brazilian driver. We're definitely going to have to recount the first run with Beecham out front, his best qualifying position this season. Trenton Beecham in that white BMW. He's got an LS under the hood, the 2J powered 86 of Diego Higa. Here we are on the left. That's Trenton Beecham leading, to refresh your memory.
Yeah, we're going right to the refresher here, the side-by-side. Beecham out front on the left and the chase on the right. We see Beecham, again, taking advantage of the opportunities given to him. A little bit of a struggle there, locking in to that angle in outside zone 2, but once he does, he looks beautiful. Higa in his lead on that last outside zone. Stays right on the outside, maybe right on the line, and you can see Beecham keeping that proximity tight as they measure their way to the finish line. So both runs in the books. Who's going to be moving on into the Grade 8?
All right. Let's see what we got. Again, still breaking it down, Ryan. Do you have a direction?
My intuitions are a little bit less fixed at the moment. You know, I think that there were certainly some great moments for both drivers, and it's hard to say absolutely this is one way that I would go. I could pick one if you asked me, but there was definitely a bit of back and forth there at various parts of the course, and ultimately it's the judges to be able to decide this decision on who's moving on.
And again, congratulations to Beecham. He's feeling just back to normal. He's running 1,000 horsepower. Earlier this year, there was a split in his intercooler, which blocked boost. And today's his second ever top 16. So Beecham is happy to be here, but it'd be great for him to advance on. Slide him left, one more time. Beecham gets the win. Advances on to the 8. And Beecham's in the 8. Congratulations to 999. Unfortunately, Diego Higa almost got salvaged by it one more time, but I do agree with that. Beecham his chase was just a little more aggressive, a little more dominant than Diego Higa. And again, Higa's hitting his